Holy smoly, that is not what I expected. And I'm just like, this is how you make one assembler. It's clean, it's nice, it's beautiful. All right, we have this setup here. And what I wanted to explain is I'm going to try to make an alarm that makes this siren go off when we're at low power. The problem is that by default, it's set up where it will do that over and over and over again. It'll just constantly make noise. So we want it to have like a gap in between the signal and just say, hey, wake up, there's power issue, and then if you've resolved in the next 2 minutes, you don't have to hear back from it. So what we're actually going to be doing is, this is connected to here. So temporarily disabling this guy because we want to just have an independent power grid. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting these combinators into play. So the first piece, let's see, here. We'll see if I can actually do this right. First try. I definitely could see myself screwing it up. But what we're going to do is first connect here. So these decider combinators, if you're familiar with programming, if you're familiar with logic, like Boolean logic type stuff, this will be right up your alley. If not, this might be just way over your head. But the idea is that we're going to be taking conditional information, or also known as variables, from the device and then putting it into the machines. The machines will calculate based on conditionals. They'll say, if the information I'm being fed says this, then I'm going to say this out. And so the input arrow and the output arrow actually makes a huge difference here. So when we connect these, you see it says A100. I think it used to be accumulator, so I'm just going to keep with that. But 100 accumulator is what it's showing because it's 100% power. If it was lower, let's say I charge up a nice little roboport here, and you're going to see that it's sending out less information, sending out 72, 73, and it's going into here. So what we're going to have is a conditional of, if it's less than, for our example, we're going to use 99 to make it easy to apply the use case, and later on we're going to bring it down to like 15% or something. But in that case, it's going to output 1 on a value of whatever we want. Let's say X. So 1 X value will go out, and will go out into, I believe, a counter here. Actually, we'll probably move this off. So for the record, this is not something I came up with on my own. I looked up on a forum. There's an explanation of how to do this. I think it would have been really difficult for me to tinker with this and find it out on my own, but I did want to try to make use of it. And I think I have a pretty good idea how it works now too. So there's going to be something called, that's our decider, input, output, based on condition. Then there's this constant combinator, which always just sends a value. In this case, we're going to be sending a time value of t. We're going to be sending it at -1 is the constant value that's sending. So it's going to be sending -1 t to this constantly, and you see it has that here. And the way it works is all the signals that get sent into the inputs all get added together. So if you have a value of like 100 and this -1, it's going to be sending 99. And so what we're going to be doing is it's going to be sending its input not just to another machine, but it's also going to be sending it back to itself. And that way, if it is at like 500, it's also going to be adding in the -1 and go to 499, 498, and so on. Not per second, but actually per tick, which I believe is 60 per second, but my testing proves otherwise, so I have no idea. Anyways, when is it going to do this? Well, it's going to only do it when the number is above 0, because there's no point in sending a negative value out to another machine. And then we're going to need to get a time value from something else as well, but we'll worry about that later. For right now, it will be sending its time value to this machine, which will decide, is that a good time value? Let's say if t is over a certain amount, like 100, that it'll be good. In which case, it'll send a signal of 1x, similar to what we did before here. So 1x out from this, 1x out from this, means this is true, and this is true. If both of them are true, then this guy will get 2 x values, right? So, sends it out if x equals 2, because right now it can't equal 0, but if equals 2, we're Which should equal 1 right now, I believe. Maybe we're not below 99. We're at 99, whatever. But if it equals 2 exactly, then it's going to send out a output of t equals 1. That's going to be important in a minute for 2 things. I don't actually think I need this, so I'm going to get rid of it because I forgot why I put it there. But I do know that I need a arithmetic combinator. And then, of course, we'll need the siren, the alert thing itself. So I'll put that here, programmable speaker. So we're going to put the programmable speaker. And it says, okay, if both of those things are true, the X values are true for the countdown timer and for the accumulator, then it is going to be sending out its alarm. Right now it's set to 0. That'd be super annoying, right? Let's go ahead and change it to something that's a little better. This sounded nice to me. And then we're going to have an alert of space, Novus, low power on Novus. And that'll pop up if the conditions are true. But right now it's never going to be, the T is never going to be above -1 because it's not getting increased. But what we're going to be making it set up as is this feeds the T equals 1 to this as well. So T equals 1 will trigger the alarm, but it will also tell this this arithmetic guy, here's a number for you to multiply. So in this case, it's going to be the T value. I don't think I did this right because I just don't think the constant goes here. Let me see. Let's see. If it's just T, does that work? No. Oh, there's a check mark here. I didn't see. Okay. T times is the default, and it's going to be what we're using. Let's say 200. This will basically turn the T1 and multiply that to 200, and it'll send T200 over to this guy here. So now we have this kind of countdown thing where as long as these are all sending the information, it'll say the last time the alarm went off was 200 or 400 or however long the lag makes it take to send it out. And then we'll be good from there. But since it's not true right now, it's not going to be sending that information. So we'll get the battery down a bit. And then we will try to remember what we do here. If it's less than 100 is the concern. Okay, we'll do that. Okay. So it's going nonstop right now because our T value is not working properly. Oh, I didn't put the letter T right here. Okay. This is getting T. I almost feel like this was supposed to be greater than. Let me try that real quick. Does not work. That's outputting. Oh, and this is not outputting T either. Bam. Okay, so this is outputting T under such circumstances. And this guy, we'll put him back to greater than. There is one small thing that we do need to change soon, but our problem is we're still high enough in power for that not to be a thing. Okay, let's try less than again. It's definitely one of the two. Okay, there we go. Now we have our timer. We had to trigger it. Okay, so now we have this value. It's ticking down, and then it'll give us another chime here when it hits 0. Or it hits 100 or whatever we set this to. And then it'll just reset back up to like, it looked like 600 or something. And there you go. So we can expand, we can increase that. We can make this number like 300, and that'll give us more time between the chimes, but we just want to be alerted to it every once in a while. And this is effectively our countdown timer. So that's it. It obviously has some complicated aspects to it, but I do think it's an interesting way to get the information without it being super annoying. So I want to try it out. This is my first time really using a real circuit setup in the game, and I'm kind of happy with it. So hopefully you guys learned something with that. If not, maybe this is baby's first circuit network, but I'm into it. And now we can go ahead and say this goes here, get rid of these guys, and then send this signal from this guy to here. He's going to be sending that accumulator that I talked about. This one. And this value is going to get changed to, let's say 20 for our first activation. We might adjust that to 15 or 10 if it happens too often. But we want to know when the power is getting low at night. And this should make it possible for us to know that. So now we're in the range where it would be chiming if the power was an issue, but our power's fine, so it's not going to. And that is all I have to say about circuits. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. That's at least something that I kind of didn't go into blind, and I played around with it a little bit and found something that worked out for what I was looking for. So maybe some people will find that cool. All right, we're about 2 hours in. We have kind of hit the mark on everything that we wanted to do here today, other than maybe kill some biters, but we're doing good so far on that front. No major breaches as we move into the next thing. Of course, we still want to do a bit more with space, so let's go ahead and spend our last few minutes here, and then we can wrap up the episode. We do have the option of just launching some cargo of just the space platforms. It might be a good option, but let's go ahead and check out what's going on up there. So pretty good range for this guy. No problems there. Do have the option of putting in more of these, but we just have to relocate a few of the pieces. The big thing to remember is if this is the range of that, you kind of want to line it up like this, right? And that way you get full coverage. And so I need more asteroid collectors, which I can easily get if I grab some electrical engine units and go from there. Why was this going down? This was just going down for that one device, right? Which we've already made. The cargo bay, which expands inventories, is something, but not something we need right now. So we can make more asteroid collectors. Hopefully the same amount of crushers can remain, and we can just kind of start finding a good way to feed those consistently to each one. So maybe we sushi belt them all, but then we'll have a bottleneck where if one is not outputting the way we want it to, then we'll have to wait on the other one, which can be a problem. Like if the ratios are off, basically, is where that problem lies. But we need to bring in a bit more. We need to bring in, let's say, a few more of these, a decent number of these, and, you know, I'm not sure after that. That asteroid collector sounded good. I think the crushers will, just the 3 crushers will work for me for right now, if I set them up properly. And for that reason, I'm just gonna bring up that and call it good. All right, another launch going through. And now we get to try to make a way to... We want to do the same setup here. Filter these all out. And then we want to... okay, I just realized that that's going to be a problem. Because I don't have underground belts. And yeah, we're just not set up for it yet. So maybe we want to like put our power supply... Well, this is effectively the top of our shuttle or space platform or whatever this thing is, based off of what we've established. So there's no reason to have these up here. We can do them all down here. Here we go. And that'll fit in there nicely. I love that. That is really cool how they did that. The ground feels very, not organic, but like mechanically organic, which is kind of cool. But yeah, we got these pieces here. The question being, how can we best set them up to provide a unique arrangement? Why can't I rotate it? There it is. Okay. Now, there's a few ways that we can go about it, but I'm just trying to think, like, what is the the best for what I want to accomplish. I think I need to centralize these a bit more, that's for sure. And then it kind of feels like I need one more layer right here if I can get it. Okay, yeah, well that's fine. We do lose a few asteroid chunks, but if everything could just move up one, that would help a lot. Cool. And then, yeah, we go ahead and we grab those pieces here. The asteroid collectors. And make it right. So this one goes right here, which confirms we do want one right here. Bam. Metallic. What is this one? Ah, dang, too late. So we did waste a few chunks, but it'll all come together once we kind of have the better setup, because we'll have more radius, I guess, to cover all this stuff. But yeah, we'll do the same filters here. And then now we can... Effectively, I need this to be here, but it's fine. I guess just central instead, like this. Alrighty. We're gonna need underground belts for sure. I don't see any other better way to do it, so let's go ahead and set that up. Not an odd number, please. There we go. 6 for now, seems okay. We can do better than that. 8's good. And then, of course, more space platforms, as always. See how that goes. Alright, we're cooking. Make 3 more of these, send them up on the next shuttle. That'd be great. Now, what do we want to do with this? Once we have our underground belts, we can basically just have them meet up at different locations. Cool. And then do like this setup right here, but do it right here. And this one doesn't need to be underground at all. Can just do that. But what if we had 3 more? And we would want to do the same thing here. That's weird. Let's go here. There we go. And then again, this one doesn't need that. Because we still need to do that because that one's the rightmost one. So it would need to be able to get to here. I think it's the same setup from here, but we'll see. The same, except we don't need this. We do need this. Interesting. And this is the same as this, right? Cool. Alright, so more underground belts. Why is this jammed with... Alright, I mixed and matched the wrong ones. My bad. All right, this is gonna be an interesting project, that's for sure. Let's go ahead. We're gonna set some more undergrounds here. Plenty of those. And then there was another thing that I was waiting on. Let's not fill this up entirely. Not you. Here, here. Oh, more belts and more space platforms. Okay. That sounds good to me. And then there. Interesting. Oh, I need the asteroid collectors in the next one. Okay, that's my bad. How are we doing? How are we getting attacked over here? Excuse me? These guys come over? Doesn't look like it. They can't get across the water, so I'm not too sure, but for now I will add some defenses. Very strange. I don't even see the biter corpses. They hiding in the trees or something? It's weird. I have to keep an eye out for whatever's going on over there. But yes, I wanted to bring in 3 asteroid collectors. Some extra of this. We could take a few of those out and supplement with those. And I think that sounds good to me, since we have another rocket in waiting already. Very peculiar. Alrighty, so we did misalign this. We'll have to do the underground belts here, just like we did before. Theoretically, we could do the exact same thing as we did here, minus the solar panel. There's some stuff. All this goes back into the machine anyway, so it's not a big deal. There's our stuff. That's cool looking. Yeah, let's just do the setup here first. This was lined up with these, right? Like this. Boom. And then we do that. We got that. And then this one doesn't necessarily need to be underground. What is this guy doing? He's getting fixed. And down we go. Down we go. Into the crushers. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to get better coverage there soon, but I don't want to leave extra space for everything, but end of the day, there's only so much space on the space platform. Crusher number 1. Let's say here. 1, 2. Iron's the one that needs the most. The metallic one, I believe, is that. If I do this, then we can put it one further this way. With this getting cleared out here. Alright, so now we have ice here. We have carbon here. Interesting. Got a little Doc Ock arms going. And then this guy, we'll put as far to the left as possible, I guess. Because then we can bring it all together with the smelters. Which we don't currently have space for, but we will. Thought I had smelters on a bar somewhere. Maybe I'm blind. Like I said, it's getting pretty late, but we got this. We just do this. We're just kind of scaling it up for the future because we're definitely going to want a decent amount of space science, not just one or two. And that means we're going to need a bit more of this action. So yeah, the problem is I think it would need to be one further down. I think all of this needs to be one down. So like here, and that'll give space for everything. And the reason for that is because we do, of course, want this stuff to go through right here. Now, as I was saying, there is that other problem of that. So this is actually going to move everything to the right one. Where we basically want, if we get a chunk of asteroid that didn't get digested, I guess, because there's like a 20... I'm surprised we haven't seen it yet. It says 20% chance to produce a metallic asteroid chunk, which is what the input was. Basically, 20% chance for the crushing to fail and for it to give off that, unless it immediately puts it back into its own input. But I'm going to assume the worst and say if it is a metallic chunk, put it back in there. And I'm going to suggest we do the same for all of these. The issue being then I thought I brought this all down and I did not, or it didn't work out the way I wanted to anyways. I'm going to do this, and we're going to change it to this. Change it to the oxide asteroid chunk. Could underground to avoid some of the issues here, but at the end of the day, the longer the smelting chain goes on, the more problematic it can become. So no, we just want it all to go one further down. Yep, and that'll be our solution. Once again, lowering this down. By one. And then now we have a line for iron, line for this, and we can bring this up this way. Now the iron itself isn't... We could also put the iron back on the line, since it's clear we're not going to be using... There's no way we're going to be needing that much. So we could do... Iron goes back on the line, and then filter it out. And that probably makes things easier than wrapping this up and taking up even more space. So we could destroy this entire belt, this entire setup, just to conserve space. Instead, do like this here. Cool. And like that, right? And so at a certain point, we'll have the assemblers over here, which we obviously cannot afford right now, so let's go ahead and address that. Destroy that last one. And let's say right here, I want the splitter, but just in case, we can do it right here too. Alrighty. Send up some space platforms. Long one, obviously. I think this is justified with the new stuff to explore, new stuff to build around. But it is, yeah, just kind of piecemeal with the whole setup here. Guess the idea is once we make the first little batch of space science, we can call it a night. But it is going to end up being a longer episode as a result. So thanks for staying with us. Send one more out along the same lines and see where that takes us. Now, did I... No, these are all set up. Nice. Doesn't feel like we're getting that many, but, you know, I think it'll add up over time. And I think also... What was it? There's I saw on the tech tree there's thrusters, so I think if we, like, are rocketing around, orbiting around the thing... Is it even orbiting? I mean, kind of the train part of it, station, made it seem like you go from planet to planet with this. It's kind of more like a rocket ship. But I don't know. Oh, I should be putting down that laser turret, shouldn't I? Assuming that we are even near any of the big rocks. We do want to be breaking those. And maybe we could have another setup right here for another one. Technically too close, but we'll worry about that later. And then we don't have electric furnaces either. Do have the space platforms though, so that's nice. All right, let's go ahead and say iron plates on the left side there. Now we have all three materials running through. We're actually going to do it on the right. No, because that would also mess things up. So we do have this issue here, a little gap to get through. We can either combine belts, 2 items onto 1 belt, which I don't hate. I mean, how much throughput you're really going to need, you know? Still, it's a little tricky to do that even. It's not that hard. We just do this. We do lose a lot of precious ice for that, but it'll be okay. And then we do the right side instead. And suddenly we have the materials that we need. No idea if this is in any way efficient. I'm usually kind of decent at compact builds. I like to save space where I can. So I feel like this is not bad, but it's still a lot of belts. A lot of items moving around when... If maybe I could have, like, fitted into a vertical line here or something, right? But then it just has, like, a big tail. Is that a thing? Let's see. Is that better? It's definitely... But I want the scalability of the furnaces, but I've kind of already capped that with this. I'd have to shift everything over right every time I add a furnace, which can be a bit annoying. How'd that asteroid trunk get in there? Do your job, dude. Pick them back up. So you're literally your one function. Yeah, it's gonna get all clogged up. Is there some in here too? What the heck, guys? Is it not fast enough? Oh, you gotta do it like this. Oh, I can do that for the U, but for these? Maybe. Yeah, sometimes they don't work as well on corners. That should screw everything over entirely, right? But yeah, okay, we'll do it like that. And maybe the lack of corner will help. Anyways, let's just make some space science and we'll worry about the optimal scalable setup a little bit later, huh? I know that I brought in one more of these. And that's all my sewing machines, so... I didn't bring any long-handed inserters in, though, so that's going to be important as well. Let's go ahead and ship some of those up. And, of course, the space platforms. How are we doing on belts? Pretty good overall. And then we got the modules. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I think this is fine. Once it's ready to deliver, but it's frozen up. We have no plastic. Our oil's clogged. What's wrong? Full of petroleum. That's a good thing, right? We're not setting out our plastic properly because it got jammed right here, didn't it? All right, you need to be upgraded to super fast bulk inserter. And this is not working because, well, That's no good either, huh? You just put it in here and you forget anything ever happened, right? Why is this connected at all? Just for the coal, yeah? Because you need coal for explosives. Well, I'm not that keen on explosives right now, so I'm just gonna close this. Oh, this is all for explosives anyway, so if it gets screwed up, it gets screwed up. Alrighty. We launched our we're trying to launch our rocket. We got a little behind on the plastic, which is fine. Do that. Oh, you could like... Oh. I didn't know you could do that. If you're holding a tile in hand, you can right-click and it'll remove it. I thought the only way I could figure out how to do it was doing a deconstruction recipe that either had no buildings on it or that specifically was designed to only affect tiles. So that's nice. All right, plastic's moving. It was all there. It just was back. It was just stuck. So now it's here. It's going great. Rocket ships go to space. I can put some in myself to help out a little bit. And then we can send our last pieces in. How do we get the space science out of the machines, you might ask? I guess we have to set it up down here. No two ways about it. And then I guess it'll go to this hub, which we can do here if our power isn't an issue. By then... I would assume that's in range. I would be surprised if it was not. Let's see here. Yeah. But we don't have that belt. So, don't do that. Instead, send a belt up there. And then do that. Oh, we're also lacking one of the... Or is it a... It's a space platform issue. It's not a belt issue, I don't think. Yeah, belts are fine. Oh, the same thing here. We're actually not lacking undergrounds, but whatever. So just need space platforms. And we need to fill in the gap here. Because we had space platforms, we just weren't using them correctly. And these are the wrong kinds of inserters. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. And finally, boom, boom. Technically, this guy should be here. Oh, the power is drifting. Okay. Quick and easy fix here. Well, the gaps that we put into the factory at least can be used for something, which is kind of nice. Probably will need to move something around as we expand in further, but yeah, all right. Boom. And then, yeah, this is designed to just keep going along like this. And we don't need this guy. We need this guy. And yeah, we can just route it to the left from here if we build more along those lines. All right, we still have a few chunks in the system, though, which I don't like necessarily. I'm trying to think why he's not doing his job with that. Is it because he already has one and he's crushed? That's interesting. Oh, because they have to kind of like take turns. So it's more like you want to put it onto a belt over here if you can. Which will never work, right? So we have to do this and then this and then... Oh, it was fine at that last part. Okay. Cool. This will work, I think. For that one, but obviously for the others, who knows? Like, we could shift all this over one. If we just delete this. That would allow us to then Do something similar here. And then here. Somehow we have the exact gaps that we would need if we were going this direction with it. So that's all fun. Who knows? Let's see. We have any more clogs other than the random carbon that hopefully does what it's supposed to do? Smelters are full anyways, so I don't think we need to increase our smelter count. We actually just need to place more assembling machines. But it's cool because they're not actually doing anything right now anyways. Because we actually need it one more over. And bulk. So, all that got into the setup anyways. All cool. So yeah, if I build some more assembly machines... Oh, I did want to give these guys some modules. If I can find them. There they are. And copy that over. Can we do that for these? So this is space material or not space material? It's not space material. Well, see, this is weird. It's giving an intermediate and a space material, right? So will it allow me to put a production module in it? Let's see. It does, okay. That gives me more value to each of these machines, which is awesome. And then these don't have the module slots at all. Technically, I could also do it for these. But we don't have them available, and honestly, it's not that big a deal for me right now. So, yeah. I think we have a setup that seems to be functional. With one more launch of some conveyor belts, space platforms, and most importantly, assembly machines, we can even increase this further. So let's check that out real quick. See, these don't take that. This takes as much as a whole assembly machine takes as much space as 2 transport belts. Madness. Madness, I say. All right. That's okay. Let's go ahead and send some of them conveyor belts. And what was the other thing I said? Just more platforms. Not too bad, I'd say. Cool. Send it up. Might need to rename that thing, but for right now, one more rocket launch to close out the night here. And our big episode for getting to the new content. Off and off and off it goes. But I'd say the factory's going really well. I mean, we have our supply lines flush. Obviously, we're not like doing full tech research or anything like that, but we have the space science sorted out, at least at a small scale. And can add a few pieces here too. So I'm thinking all we have to do is this and this and this and then some of this, and that should do it. Bulk inserters and conveyor belts. And I thought I sent more assembly machines. Oh, it just doesn't have the platform as well. Okay. So, bulk inserters. I think we have enough, but we're just going to grab a few because there's no harm in it. And then a few of those and a lot more of that stuff. We good on belts, at least for now. Could use a few more belts. We could take out half. Nah, I still want all that we placed. I don't think it'll make much of a difference, but there you go. And I think we have enough red-handed that we sent up earlier. Good. yeah, no, this is our little setup here. 9 asteroid collectors going full speed. Getting a little clogged here, but as it gets crunched through, we just need to actually consume the material, you know? We could definitely upgrade these to level 3 assembling machines pretty soon with the productivity, once we get into productivity, which we basically have all the production science materials, right? We have made electric furnaces, we have made the productivity modules, and we have made the rails. We just have to kind of bring it all together, which, you know, the easiest way to implement that would be the logistic network, which requires 500 space science. So I'm not sure we'll get that too soon, but what's the tile placement? Blah, blah, blah. We could go ahead and just grab a bunch more of these and throw them on up there with a new rocket. And that'll cover some extra issues that come up here. Yeah, we just need space platforms. And there you have it. And then I guess, yeah, it'll go into here. So we have made 269, and then we can drop pod it down. So I guess in that sense, there it goes. Cargo landing pad could actually go to the labs that we currently have set up, which have sufficed up to this point. And they can have their own little setup. So cargo landing pad around here, as interesting as it looks. And then we need the red-handed inserters here, which will be like this, this, and then something like, I guess we can do it two ways. We can either do it with the substations, or we can just keep it as it was. And the way to do that would be to do a override ghost right here, here, and subtract any extra ones that we don't need. So this one here. So then you do this to speed it up. And then over here. And then once again, you can kind of do stuff like this. It looks fine, okay. With not so much over here. And then, you know, these can be, fast inserters can be here, that's fine. Why is it mad? Oh, it was waiting for construction bot to help it out. Okay. And this is offset, unfortunately, so I have to undo my last couple moves, as I seem to have made a mistake pretty early in the line. Maybe I just stood on the conveyor belt and it took me away, but dang. Okay. That's fine. We just need to... This one's fine. And then I'm looking at this and saying, okay, well, this one should be fine, but it's not because this guy is throwing me off. I see. I probably lined it up with the electrical pole instead of where I was supposed to. We're doing this instead. And that'll cover everything. Sure, why not? That's half the labs. That's enough for right now. Extra space science might be extra space science, but I'm happy with it. Let's go. What are you guys doing? Having trouble with this little bit here. There we go. So it's not even like robots making it. It's almost like an autonomous machine, but it works. Drop pod 1. Lots of space science. And almost there for another 200. 400 space science already en route into our system. That's awesome. So we're running out of ice, it looks like. We are not we're backed up on these two. But we're not backed up on the ice kind, so we might need to find a better way to set that up, or we just need to be patient and be okay. That's not I wonder if like different planets have different types of asteroids that are more frequently available to them. But the worst case scenario is we could do something like this, where we can just set up a machine right here kind of thing. This is where it's not... Yeah, we could do this, and then... And it says, don't close the gap. And I say, just do it like this. And it's all fine. Cool. And then we just send up an asteroid collector. But this guy's out. He's doing his thing. Boom. All right. Space science. Anything we want to get right off the bat? We have Speed Module 2 Logistics System for 500. We're close to that, actually. The thrusters kind of seems cool. Need steel processing and EEUs, but you can melt ice and make blast off. Pretty cool. All right, and then, of course, Vulcanus is our destination, but it's going to be a little bit longer before we can get to that. We have to... Okay, the thrusters will unlock Vulcanus. So it's 500 for that, and I guess 1,000 probably for our target. So 1,500. We are already looking at least 400, maybe 600 soon. We're doing great. Yeah, it is unfortunate that our ice has dried up. We will have to get ourselves maybe some more ice asteroid collectors or figure something else out, but man, we are moving right along. We are conquering things as they come, and I'm into it. Yeah, we'll send some asteroid collectors up. We'll send some these materials, maybe a couple more of these. A few more solar panels can always help. And I think we'll call it there. Off you go. That'll help a little bit on the ice side right here. And you know, we can always throw down another laser turret somewhere around here. Not that it necessarily does that much, because it just matters that the laser turret's in range of the asteroid collectors, I think, and these already are. So that's cool. This seems unnecessary, so we'll just close it out for right now, since we're doing perfectly fine on the iron plate side. But there, that one goes in. We can always close this gap here to avoid issues in the future and go from there. But this is looking good, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Here we are in the space age doing some space things. Like I said, it wasn't entirely what I thought it would be in terms of how we interact with this environment, but once we got it down, we got it down. It's looking good. So I'm into it, and I hope you are too. We're going to be continuing our journey here on the next episode. Until next time, thanks for tuning in, and you guys have a good night. Of course, as always, you have the option to like, comment, or subscribe on the video if you so choose, and just to be completely honest, it does help motivate me to keep this rolling, to keep episodes coming out a few a week when I can. So we'll see what we can do. I am noticing a small issue here as I'm looking at this. I'm going to go ahead and finish the connection here. That should give us something, but we are also seeing a few roadblocks, a few problems. So it seems like we're still able to reach over it, just barely. Yeah, anything on this line will still work, but luckily, the way the belt works actually will send the ice first, which is kind of nice for us. But yeah, we just have to be careful about mixing stuff in the future. So you can't give modules to these things, but... Oh, and the power is running lower as well. Bam, bam, bam. All gaps serve a purpose when there's solar panels involved. All right, and that helps our power better, or no? Only when they're not moving, when they're not operating. Seems like they have a charge built in, like kind of like the robo ports, and they kind of utilize that to stay active. But yeah, the more we could do with our solar panels, the better. Maybe we can find a few spots where we can squeeze them in a bit easier. Where do we have them? But right now it looks like we are out of our staples, which is going to be that space platform. So send a few panels up and then send the rest as space platform, and you got yourself a fully functional orbiter space station. Of course, still have half of the borders not really covered with in terms of asteroid collection, but really just wanting to prioritize the... Oh, that's my problem. Did not set the filter. That's why we got the junk on the line, which we can now remove and say here, 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 here. I'm sure we could probably just do something more like this now. But the important thing is there's something coming from the left side, because that way we can always get half this extra overflow sent up that way. So, looking better, looking cleaner. Assembling machines are here. And if we did have more space state platform, we could even increase the amount of space science we're putting out per minute. But we have 600, it looks like, maybe 800 now. And we're well on our way to our target. So, feels good. I'm glad to have gotten a chance to puzzle through this, and I think we're off to a great start here in the space age. Till next time, thanks once again for tuning in, and you have a good night. Hello, Automation Nation. Thanks for having me back today. Now, I did mention that was the end of the episode, but what I ended up deciding to do is split things up into 2 episodes, since the last one ran quite long, with the 3-hour mark being hit. I think it's better to go ahead and splice it a little bit, and we're going to be doing the second half of the second episode here. However, it is going to be a recording on a different day, so that means that a few things have changed. One of the more noteworthy ones, we can take a look at one of the mods I just installed. We'll have the space platform thruster tech unlocked pretty soon with the space science coming down. But yeah, one of these mods that I picked up was visual planets. And as you can see here, the beautiful novice orbiting around behind us. It's a huge visual change for the space platform area in general. Basically, whatever planet we're going to be over, there's going to be some high definition image in the background here. And there's visual planets, which has like HD upsizing of kind of the smaller planet visuals, but there's also like about 5 or 6 different like reskins of that work with the visual planets mod. I ended up going with Valerian's visual planets reskin. So if you get the visual planets mod and the Valerian's mod, then this is what you can see, and I think it's gorgeous. I believe these are made with AI. I'm not too sure, but no matter how it was made, it is just fantastic. I love to see, you know, the planet moving underneath. You'll see that there's this parallax effect that helps kind of give it depth and 3D effect, where you can move around the camera and it moves behind it. It does get a little jumpy when you move around with mouse, which I believe I do pretty often. But at the end of the day, though, it's definitely worth it, because it just adds this huge visual that I imagine the devs themselves will probably be adding in like 2.1 or something, because this is just such a cool change. It definitely gives like you know, like the environment, it just changes perspective on the environment of where you're at and what you're doing. So I really love it. I think it's a great change. Now, one thing that you can do is change in the mod settings, like some of the visual aspects of it, dimensions and all that. You can change the rotation speed as well, like by default it's 0.01, but you can get pretty crazy with it. Like if you do 25, that's a massive shift, and suddenly you've got like some ridiculous spin cycle going on here with the planet. You've got yourself a Rasengan or a Beyblade or whatever the heck you feel like. substituting in there, but that's great. And then, yeah, there's a number of other things. But, you know, really just kind of can play around the numbers, see what you feel looks best for you. But, yeah, I think that's what I have. Let's see, default is 0.01. Actually, I want to put 0.007, just slightly slower than default, as, you know, it gives it some distance here. But we've got our planet thruster research now, and that's going to be great for setting us up for our discovery to Vulcanus. However, I do want to go ahead and grab our logistics system before that, and then we'll get into discovering Vulcanus, which we've got to do a number of things before we're ready for anyways. Now, one thing that I will have to admit is that this is not my first time trying to set up the thruster system, and that is because I recorded this segment yesterday and the recording was not great. It was stuttering all over the place. There was a graphic setting that was off, and so I might pull a couple clips of what happened during that attempt at the playthrough a little bit later, but for right now it's just another attempt at making things work, and yeah, another hour of content to round out the episode length. But hey, this is actually the first time I'm going into a space age item not completely blind, which means that, you know, I might be able to offer a little bit more perspective on things. But let's go ahead and check out our inventory. At the very least, we can definitely dump some of this stuff. If I dump anything else, I'm actually going to need to put a filter onto this inserter that's next to the labs and make sure that it's only sending out the white science, the space science, and putting that into the labs. So we'll go ahead and do that. And that way everything's good. You can also like set that filter up to do multiple, like do white science uncommon, white science rare, and so on. The multi, I think, was having issues, but maybe I'm wrong about that. I'm not sure. Either way, I'll just do this, and that'll make sure we cover anything if we put some quality modules up there, which isn't the end of the world, but definitely a nice opportunity for us to build upon what we have. But yeah, let's check out this new system. We've got ourselves some thrusters, which we can go ahead and start manufacturing now if we've got the processing units at hand. We certainly do here. And just continue to build off that with the engine units as well, which should be nearby if memory serves. Yeah, we did route some this direction, and we can pull them off the line here along with some coal. But yeah, this is going to help us get the thrust that we need to make it in interplanetary travel, and we're going to need a few more things on top of that. We'll probably need some chemical plants. So as far as how the thruster fuel system works is, if you take a look here, you can see that we are going to be creating two new fluids, thruster fuel and thruster oxidizer. The thruster itself, you can see, consumes both of these at an equal rate, the red and the blue lighter fluid, so to speak, and then it will generate the thrust. So that's going to be what allows us to travel between the locations, which once we have a new planet unlocked, we can actually look at where we can go. But yeah, at the very least, we are in a position where we can at least set up the system and then start most likely banking up some of the fuel in storage, because I'm realizing that it's going to take more than you would have expected. It's, you know, obviously hard to determine the distance here when we're talking. It says that it can move a certain speed, and it'll be like, you know, 45 kilometers per hour or whatever. It's like, that's nothing, right? So it's really hard to calculate the distance over light years, but whatever it ends up being, we'll figure it out. Right now, our weight for our platform is 203 tons. It'll get up to about 350 plus by the time that we're done with everything here. But, you know, we're setting things up. We've got some space platforms. We're going to need a lot more space platforms, though. So let's go ahead. We'll ditch some of this stuff to make sure we have space. And then, yes, we are going to be going ahead and setting up some platform. So let's do your next move here. And then obviously we're sending out rockets pretty consistently. They, you know, build the rocket parts. They have two rockets banked up, and then they take a little animation to go. But I'm realizing that we actually are going to be requiring more rocket throughput. Maybe in the future when we're trying to utilize these as like, inner solar system resource transference, but also even just right now when we're trying to pack our bags for Vulcanus, there was so much stuff that I wanted to send up that was taking a really long time to do so. So we're going to be setting up our systems to start the process of collecting all that ice and turning it into thruster fuel. But yeah, at the same time, we also want to be expanding a lot of stuff that we've been doing here on Novus even further so that we can facilitate 2 rockets going on at once, having 2 sets of these less low density structures in order to make sure that we are keeping at capacity. Less so on the actual manufacturing side and more so on the resource side. Copper can run dry, steel can potentially run dry. It's all very important to kind of keep an eye on. So as far as right now, we can keep on sending things up. We're going to need some pipes for sure. Probably an even number makes sense, but let's just do 14 for now, and the rest can be pipage. And then we're going to need, of course, some the storage tanks and the chemical plants where we can. If we can't fit more, then we'll adjust, We're just trying to get as much as we can onto each of these rockets as we build them up. But yeah, we definitely need to get started on building up a new rocket silo. The things that we're going to need for that looks to be mostly processing units. I can dump in a few of those, but really just go ahead and send those in directly through this, and maybe pick up some for myself would be a nice option just to make sure that we have what we need. I basically just built a tank just to make sure that over here we have the means to travel if we need it, because that is going to be... one thing that I've noticed as limitation is my garage is far too outside of center. So we've got everything in play, everything's working, but a few things can be working more efficiently. I'm going to go ahead and just grab some explosives for that tank that I just dropped. And then, keep things moving. Right now we've got 6 thrusters, maybe a bit overkill, I'm not too sure, but I don't really know the math of if it's like more efficient. It said 50 to 100% efficiency. I'm curious if it's more efficient when it's not the only one carrying the thrust, or if it's more efficient that way than any other. So a few ways to look at it potentially, but we'll have to see. I'm sure there'll be a wiki page detailing all the optimizations for it in not too long from now, but at least for right now, we're doing all right. At least I say that. We are actually getting attacked here. These guys, I don't even know how. I'm going to assume that pollution reached across the ocean. They cannot swim. There's no way. But I believe it's possible that the pollution tagged this node, and then they ran all the way up through here and decided this is the best place to settle. Either way, we're going to need to set up some defenses here. And at the end of the day, we're just going to need to clear it out. So I can go ahead and go about that. And since we have the tank all set up and ready to go. In the meantime, one more rocket won't hurt if we want to just send a little bit more stuff into the sky. Pipes is always helpful. I'm trying to think of what else we need up there. It's kind of hard for me to tell without having it on hand. Definitely could be using some inserters. Could be using some more chemical plants as well. So we'll go ahead and go about that. If we can drop a few long-handed inserters. And then drop some of these as well. And then the rest, if we can, just try to bring in some good chemical plants and some more of the storage tanks where we can. Perfect. This looks good. So go ahead and launch that. Now we can hit the road. We have our rocket-fueled tank ready to go. Now, of course, it's easy to note that we do not have the same equipment grid set up for it. So there is going to be some limitation there where we're not, auto-building from this tank. But it's bred for warfare. It has one purpose, and that's apparently running into cliffs as I look and check my ammunition inventory. But yeah, we've got plenty of explosive ammo, and should be plenty to address this instigation here on the eastern side. And then, in theory, maybe we want to improve our defenses in the northeast. It's possible that they came from the south, but no matter what, we got to get a blockade going for these things. So I do not think that they've had time to build up, really, so they shouldn't be too problematic, but it's something that I cannot address by just remotely building things, as far as I can tell anyways. So we'll go ahead and send some early warning shots, also known as explosive rounds, right into the masses. Plenty of biters here, definitely add up in terms of what they are doing, and hitting the rocks also can be unfavorable. So we got to keep ourselves up, or at least do our best to keep our robot buddies alive. But at the end of the day, we're going to be okay. I keep on trying to hit tab for the weapon change hotkey, because that's what it used to be a while back, not too long ago. But this guy is a little tanky. All right, that should be enough health here for us to finish the job. As we just make sure we don't drive into the ocean is the big thing. And there we go. Easy peasy. No problem at all. Just 200 some odd health left. What the heck are you doing over there, bud? Okay, apparently I missed the tiny little hive to the south. We'll go ahead and take care of that the old-fashioned way as well. Run it through. And there you have it. But we can go ahead, just grab this guy for now, this guy as well. If we get up to a certain speed, we don't have to worry about them doing their auto repairs. They can do that on their own time, not mine. So yeah, increasing my resource production. Copper, we recently expanded the node, but we didn't really give it its own independent smelting setup. We just tacked it onto an existing one. I do think that we're going to need to go ahead and just blueprint out some good, effective smelting units to make sure that we're making the most of the resources that are going to be going in. Basically, we'll have one big copper smelting line, hopefully built out with beacons in mind, and that will help us, you know, really push what we can accomplish by just tacking on ore and sending it to the refinery directly, and then making little requests for whoever needs the copper plates. Debating what to do with quality on that front, if we really even care about quality at all. There are definitely some things that can benefit from it. I think quality gun turrets, for example, could be low-key really good, but I'm not too sure. Now, we just need to send these thrusters up. So let's just send 5 at a time, so let's go ahead and bring that up there. Based on what we sent already, let's see if we can get a little bit of action going with regard to the chemical plants and so on. So we'll go ahead and grab this and build off of what we already have. And then we're going to go ahead and, previously, the last time I tried this, I went ahead and I duplicated this whole setup over here, made ended up making a total of 14 space science assemblers. At this time, that's not really my priority. We're going to get the space science. That's happening for sure. The issue that I'm more concerned about is related to being able to get to Vulcan reasonably, because it does seem like it takes a lot of fuel, and yeah, we just know that there's going to be some challenges. So go ahead and do this, and then if I can request for the productivity modules to be added here, that would be a good option as well, I think. So, and then I can send a few more up as well. So let's say this within the map. We go production, boom, 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 and they get auto-filled in. Perfect. So we've got 7 going. That's not going to be a problem at all. That's going to give us a nice chunk. Looks like over 1.5 science per second, which adds up nicely, over 90 per minute. great. But still, just one step in the right direction. Apparently, we need a lot more of that space platform, so we're going to be setting some of that up with the next one. As well, though, I do want to bring up a few other things, namely, as I actually try to remember, the storage tanks. Quality modules would be okay, productivity modules rather, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, I guess we'll go stick with that for right now. Make sure that we're able to bring as much of that up as we can to make the most of our resources. We don't want to be inefficient about what we're doing up there. Like I said, we're actually taking a while to refill the rocket here. We need more processing units. I actually didn't expect that to run into so many issues. The ratio for, as the rocket just screams to life over where I'm talking, but yeah, the ratio for red to blue felt appropriate, but as you can see, we're missing advanced circuits here, and I'm not exactly sure why that is the case. If we're peeling them off, we're just not running these all the time, or if there's some other factor coming into play, but we can go ahead. We can definitely productivity module our blue science, and then hopefully we can do the same to these other machines. Another thing I guess we could do, if we could try to fit in a beacon here and see if that helps anything. The trick being that this is, yeah, they're all set up in a way that it's a little difficult to fit in. And the best case scenario is that we would... There's a lot of little changes that I have to make in order for that to be the case. For right now, yeah, we'll just research productivity module 2 and try to do what we can with that. But yeah, these guys just seem to be waiting on reds, and the reds themselves are trying to get all the materials together, so it'll be all right in the end. Just taking a little time to pull all that together. So the logistics system, good. As far as what you need for the level 2 productivity module, you take the productivity module and you add advanced circuits and processing units. So it's kind of one of those weird situations where you're using the stones to destroy the stones. You're using processing units to allow you to produce more processing units consistently, but we want to be efficient with what we're producing. So at the end of the day, we're just going to need to do that. As I was saying, though, I think higher quality on a few options could be a benefit, but at the end of the day, we just need more resources as a whole. So let's check out how our copper is doing right now. It seems to be good here. This line is full entirely. Like I said, I can beacon it, but no real issues with copper plates at this particular moment. I guess we can be a bit more reactive, but I do think that is going to be something that we could theoretically need more of, and the furnaces could help a lot. At the end of the, it's just like the space platforms take a good amount of copper. The low density structures take a ton as well when they're running full time. But yeah, right now it just happens to be blue processing units that we're not really making that many of. And we'll have to see what we can do about that. This actually reduces the speed a little bit, I believe. But it is important to keep it going without it running out of material. These advanced circuits and so on. So we got all these. We can upgrade them in the near future. And then these things have been running full time the whole time. So I guess at the very least, what we can do is we can find a nice little 3x3 spot right here for one beacon. And that can make sure that, and then if I move this over here and here and cut these out, then I can do that same thing right here. So with two beacons set up here, that will allow us to put some good speed modules in. And I think I might have speed modules in the logistics system. I'd have to check. L hotkey might help me out here. Sorry for the yellow glare on the screen, but yeah, I want to go ahead and figure out where these are. And it looks like it's all in this storage chest. Cool. Yeah, I've not actually been able to take advantage of some of those map menu things so much, but it is cool when it does pan out. Let me try that one more time as I try to hunt this stuff down. And click on that one. It's just to the west here. Okay, cool. Got it. So that's helpful. And saves me a little bit of time for manufacturing these myself. Of course, we could be making level 2s. In the end, that's definitely going to be where we want to be, but it'll take a little bit of time. So, beacon number 1 can go here, hit these 3 machines, and some of those. So actually, this will hit more machines as a whole, so it can't be that bad. And then we just put the speed modules in. So that'll make sure that we're definitely covering a lot of red, no matter what. Let me just check if the ratios were being problematic as well. This guy's not even beacon accelerated, which gives us a good litmus. 0.12 times 6 is 0.72, and these guys are consuming at a rate of 0.13 times 5. That is with the modules, of course, but I'll be honest, I don't actually know what the problem is that some of these are not always getting, like that this line isn't completely full of advanced circuits. These guys are running full time. It's not getting really pulled off the line for any random reason. There was a point where it was a little bit behind because of the copper cables, but at this point, I don't know. Speaking of copper cables, you're going to see that these guys just aren't really working at the same speed, because they are not getting the benefit of the speed modules on these copper cable manufacturers. So again, another solution for that can be to get more productivity modules or some other combination of items. We are manufacturing modules over here, and they've been kind to us so far, so let's go ahead and just grab a few of those for ourselves. Okay, that'll save us a lot of copper in the long run. And then, yeah, like I said, a couple of beacons can be added here and here. Will help the copper cables more than they help the green. So, ratios might not be perfectly exact, but we're getting there. Yeah, modules is not something that I played around with that much. I definitely get the idea of it at a larger scale, but by the time you get them, oftentimes it feels like you just beat the game anyway, so you don't really need to get too deep into it. At least that's the impression I always got, but they definitely help. And I guess these guys aren't in the same area, so they're not really diminishing or turning much except for these 3, but yeah, we just want to make sure everything's covered here nicely and that we're actually pumping blue the best we can. You know, an ideal world is that we could just stretch this out one more and then add a little bit of this action here. There's no guarantee for sure that this would work that way, but yeah, you can always hope. Bottom line is we need some blue, and this is so far the best way for me to get it. Oh, productivity module 2, the best place to put it here would actually be in this spot right now. So I'm going to go ahead. I don't want to be manufacturing a bunch of 1s. I just want to take the ones that I have and upgrade them to 2s. And then we can put that in the rocket ship itself, and that can help a ton. Yeah, of course, that is definitely something we want to automate, but we can take a little bit of time. Speaking of the extra blues, they got pulled into this. We made ourselves a rocket silo, and now we're good. So what we could do is pull all the blues from that, put it into here, just to make things a bit easier on it in the future. As far as what we're sending into outer space, well, guess first things first, let's go ahead and cut this off here. And then put down a rocket silo. which we should have from here. Grab that. And yeah, we'll just kind of go ahead and make a setup where if we can put all this here, put all this maybe right here, you can find yourselves in a pretty good spot, I'd say. And then from there, yeah, you'll want to go ahead and you have to find the best way to do it so that you can underground belt through here and through here. And these guys can probably connect up together. And that will feed into there. Again, we want to make sure that this is nice and efficient. So we're going to go ahead and get this all to level 2. And then we're going to need these guys here as well. So we can underground belt, not necessarily here, but like if we went this way, then we can underground belt past. And blam, that is all 4 ingredients, loading up a second rocket, which just allows us to be more efficient with sending stuff into space. And as we notice that we are running out of materials, then we're going to be needing to equip ourselves for that. But one thing at a time. So, we'll need to be pulling ice. So what we have, we're going to be melting the ice is what we're looking at. So we're going to rotate that down, and then we're going to bring this across. I'm trying to think if we... Yeah, this bulk inserter can handle it here. If we just go ahead and swap our bars here briefly. What we're going to be doing first and foremost is melting ice. The water will then come out and into 2 different machines. One machine that requires water is the thruster fuel, the orange, and then the other machine that requires water up here will be the thruster oxidizer. One needs iron ore, one needs carbon. We have carbon right here. Iron ore is a little trickier because, as you can see, this is plates that we brought all the way here. Iron ore isn't seen past this point right now here. So in theory, there's an option if you like scooch everything down one box, that can be done, that kind of thing. I think my solution is to go ahead and fill this gap, splitter here, make this the iron ore, and by that I mean, oh god, what have I done? There we go. Make this the iron ore on the right side. Clear this out one more time. Okay, great. So only plates on this one, and then only the ore over here. And then we could either send it down the bottom, or we could try to send it through here. Obviously a little bit more crowded over here, so yeah, let's go ahead and just try this. What you'll actually see is opportunity for us to do something like this, this, and we've got our iron ore. So suddenly we've got that covered. We just need the water, which I guess these guys can just go next to it. The only issue obviously is if we are trying to like have a larger scale thing, but I think we're fine with just going with the current setup. So we have thruster oxidizer ready to go. We have orange just needing the carbon, which we have available here. And there's a few ways we could approach that. We can either space everything down one, which I don't think is an issue, except we just need one power line shift. But interesting. Yeah, there's a few things we can do. I'm just trying to think about which one is the most space efficient. I think this will help, and then yeah, technically we don't even need to, but we still need the ice figured out, right? So Yeah, it's a little awkward. And they don't do it like this, right? This doesn't do anything. That's labs that work that way. So yeah, we can definitely take it off of here, but then we have to insert it here. So we can do something like this. It's not ideal, especially we have to then set up a whitelist for ice specifically. Not the worst solution, not the best solution perhaps, but it is functional. And then yeah, for space we could still do it this way and that would work. And then this will get the cobalt carbon in and allow us to have the orange out. Now, as far as where the juice goes, then we want to go ahead and set up some storage tanks like I was talking about, which are going to be these ones here. And make sure that they all link up. Which does require storage tanks and space platforms, of which we are lacking the space platforms the most. So, rocket full of space platforms going up, rocket full of space platforms going up. And then that'll get fulfilled immediately, which is great. Once again, we have to do the iron ore stuff right here. And then we really do want to send up, before we even really get in, yeah, at each step of this, we could probably enhance the efficiency. Let's check if these are intermediary parts. So the productivity modules only work with intermediary parts. And of this, it looks like, how much of it really is considered an intermediary that we can actually module? I guess there's probably an easy solution here. If we just have modules on hand, we do. We can go ahead and just put the module in, and if it works, it works. So it says it's working. And then what about you? As well. Okay, so this is something I should be doing. I should be making like, it looks like 12 minimum. And also, like, let's look at the ratios real quick, because this is taking in 5, and it only needs, this is able to put out 19 water, and it's only taking 5 in. I guess the reason I did want to separate it with the splitter is to say we want to evenly distribute blue and red, but I think that process will kind of happen naturally as well, since we just have a finite amount of storage to work with. So I think an actual solution might be to then try to have one chemical plant feed each of these, which shouldn't be too hard. We just need to move everything over one, or take away this. That's possible too. Let's see if we can just do it like this. Oh, and then we still need to get it over there. Okay. My biggest thing is making sure that we, yeah. Okay. So we do this. We do the water melt. We take the ingredients we need. And the rest still have to make it over here, which can be adjusted slightly. It could be like more like this. With that up there. Cool. I really do feel like if we just did this, though, that we could just flow this so much cleaner without all that nonsense. So let's do that. Bottom line, we're getting the ice. We're getting the carbon. We're getting the iron ore. The water's going in when it's available, and we're going from there. A couple of the things we can get into with the planet discovery is, yes, putting our space science to work over here. I don't know if I've automated space science requests, but what you can do with this is, yeah, you can go ahead and set up logistics where We put in space science packs. We say, give us at least 1,000, if not more. And outer space will oblige if it's available. It'll just drop pod it down into the machine. So you'll see potentially some of that coming down soon. There we go. And that will, fill out on the line. Of course, the trick of that is that does turn on our machines here that are ice hungry, and that means that we're just getting less overall in some areas. We gotta watch out for that. All right, more module 2 is what I'm seeing. As much module 2 as we can get is kind of the goal. It helps out right here a lot, and then of course it helps out in outer space where it's even more important, I would say. And we can get up to 12 there. We should not be making any productivity. That's the module over here's job, where the grass meets the concrete. Cool. Alrighty. So, a lot of little points of progress. You see the copper is still kind of filtering down here. There's not as much like full balance. Do we have a balancer for the copper plate line? Doesn't look like it. So yeah, what we can do is just right here. I guess I should do it a little bit further back, huh? You flip this down, here, and here. And that'll make it so that the top and the bottom line are evenly sent out. If I do have blue technology, like the level 3 belts, then we could even put like an improved splitter here. But we currently do not have productivity module manufacturing. And I'm not going to be handcrafting any more of that, I'll tell you what. However, because we just recently discovered our requester chest, we can actually make that a kind of a snap of just being able to grab the pieces that we need from the logistics system without a huge amount of work from us. It isn't a great option for scaled production of science, but if we just need a bit more to get a few of the purple science goals without disrupting us too much, then we could totally make that happen. We could get automation 3 pretty easily. We could get the logistics 3 if we're able to dedicate a little bit of lubricant to it. So we'll see how it goes. Right now, concrete is looking pretty good. I think I do want to expand on that a little bit while I'm able. Make it nice and big. I do know that I made a concrete blueprint, and I probably should be using that, but we're here now. I think that's right. Okay. And as more pieces come in, we'll just go ahead and fill it out further. But doing pretty good on concrete right now. 1,000 in each box is not bad. Alrighty. So these guys are doing all right. These guys do that. But now we want to put these productivity module 2s in here. And we need to make a few more of those. We're working on it. Anything else that we really need up top side? We could send the thruster. No reason to keep it down here. So I'll go ahead and send that. Oh, okay. And yeah, space platforms never hurts either. We'll stick with that for right now. We can always change it up. But yeah. As far as these requester chests goes, we really only need the one, to be honest with you guys. So I'll just bring this down to 2 and then resume making them after the fact. Obviously, we want more requester chests and probably some active provider chests later, but keeping things simple from the start is always nice. Oh, nice little space science drop pod coming in. So, we're over at the labs here, and we're saying, okay, what if we want to make a little bit of quick and dirty purple science? Not at scale, not a big deal, just a little bit. We know the recipe. Recipe is rails, electric furnace, and productivity module. Well, good news is that all of that is in the system already. So what we can do is just set up a little line to put it down on the track. I'm thinking if we didn't have the space science line clogged here, then what we can just do is have one more conveyor belt here. They could even literally put it directly on the track, but let's just do this and everything should be fine, right? So what we're going to be doing is setting up with this guy here, our assembling machines. They're going to do red insertion there. And maybe a bit excessive. I'd say that 8 is fine and everything else can go. And what we're going to be doing here is taking off the line, redding onto the line, taking off the line above. We have something here, we have something here, and then of course we'll have the electricity to satisfy this whole setup. So we'll do this right here. And with a little bit of copy paste here, we now can just do this setup right here over and over. Boom, boom, boom. So how do we get the ingredients? We don't have rails, electric furnace, or productivity modules around. They're way over here for rails, over here for the modules, and the furnaces aren't really that close by, that easy to acquire. Well, that's where the logistics requester boxes come into play. We've got these new fancy blue chests, and what we can do is set it up so it is requesting these ingredients individually. Now, if we know how much we're taking in per minute, we can say we want to make sure that we cover that much. It looks like 8 rails per second times 60. 1.07 times 8 times 60. We're going to need over 500 rails. And then the others are much less consequential. So we'll go ahead and we'll say keep 500 rails in this box. That's the request that we're filling out. And no more than 1,000. Usually like double the base value is a perfectly fine way to do it. Then the other thing would be we want to be requesting the electric furnaces that we've manufactured and automated. And then we want to be requesting the productivity modules, which is over here. Level 1 productivity module. And all that's going to be dropped in by the robots in the logistics system. There's going to be some robots already on their way to making this happen. Should be. And then what we're going to be doing then is setting up filters on 3 different inserters. We have one dedicated. This line can be dedicated to rails, just in case we need to double it, which we shouldn't. And then these guys can meet up. Yeah, far side, close side, it all works out. We can go ahead and say that this is going to be productivity 1, and this is going to be electric furnace. We're going to see as these boxes get filled up by the robots, the logistic robots come on through, fill the boxes up, and suddenly we're getting all these materials just put out on the line. This is not something that we had to plan out all the logistics, route everything, ratio everything. It's just, hey, these guys need this, and we're providing it, and we're happy for it. And And with the red science, it should just go right out onto the line, or the red, I'll call these things red belts, I'll call these things red science. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. They will kind of pop on to the line and make it happen. Obviously, this isn't going to be the most sustainable thing if we don't have enough production from the modules or what have you. In fact, the only reason that we even have these productivity modules being made is if we have excess materials coming in from over here, which only is the case when we are not using our blue science. So there's a lot of flaws in the system. But at the end of the day, if I wasn't like, tutorial mode explaining this, I could have just set this up in like 2 minutes and walked away, which is pretty sick. How are we doing on concrete? Doing pretty good on concrete. Let's go ahead, hit that blueprint up. We got some concrete. This is how we use the bots. I didn't like that. I guess because the center of the blueprint was here. That's fine. We can just do it here instead, right? So why was I able to do it here and not... Because I was dragging, maybe? No. I don't know why I was able to put down the tile without landfill. But, you know, we can always just do this, this, this. It looks good. Maybe just because I clicked it. It doesn't matter. End of the day, we're not landfilling. We're just concreting. We got plenty to work with. And we'll continue to do so. Ingredient shortages is what I got to worry about, but right now we're good. Steel, copper, everything seems to be going swell. And we'll continue to build off what we have. Our biggest thing is going to be water. Our biggest thing is getting water into outer space. Because right now, these ice cubes that we're finding are not really cutting it. You see, our thruster fuel is very low because our ice is not melting very well. And I feel like this does need to be addressed. So, one thing is going to be those productivity modules. I'll send those up right now. All of them, sure, why not? I'm sure we can use them in different places. And then I think we're going to be adding in some turrets and stuff up there as well. So we can go ahead and do that. Never hurts to have a little bit more space platform foundation, so we can go ahead and do that. And things seem to be going along decently. We're making purple science. We're not using purple science, but we're making purple science. And like we said, we could also be moduling those with the higher quality or what have you to enable some better actions. Since we have so many quality modules just sitting around in the box, I do want to make use of them. So I'm going to go over to where we made quality modules, grab a couple of those. I really don't want to encourage them making any more at all. So we're just going to fill the box entirely. And instead, yeah, just pop a few of these, turning them into something more. Alrighty. Very busy, very active. Let's check our power situation just to make sure. Of course, we have that alarm set up now that should tell us where we're at in terms of accumulator charge if we get really low. But yeah, there is purple science in the labs. We like to see it. And soon, I guess I can just, for right now, do these. Pull this out of here. And it can go from there. Copper's backed up. Steel's good to go for right now. It's just about bringing in what we need the most, which is going to be gun turrets. Don't think I've gone over it, but it does say that when we get into asteroid defense, it does say gun turret can be used to break larger asteroids into asteroid chunks. These can be picked up by asteroid collector and processed on the platform for resources. Larger asteroids damage the platform on impact. So basically we have to shoot these big things out of the sky or they crash into us. And it turns out that while laser turrets aren't as effective because they have 90% laser resistance, they only have like 10% gun turret resistance. So that's what we're going to be going for. But I do believe that we could make better gun... Well, it doesn't increase their damage, right? It increases their range. That's still kind of nice, though. I kind of like the idea of increasing their range a bit, giving them more fire time. Depends on how we set it up, but I think that can be beneficial for sure. So we would need iron plates, copper plates, iron gear wheels. This all seems very doable for me right now. So where are we making... We're not making improved iron plates or copper plates anywhere, are we? Let's go ahead and just say if we want it, which we do, we can go ahead and put it right here. I was going to put in some productivity, but we don't have it. And we won't for a while. No big deal. Let's go ahead and just say it's got to be improved just to get in this system. So if we just do this here, it will auto smelt it. And then we just need a couple of specific inserters. We need to whitelist it for each of the types of ingredients and go from there. So we go for quality. And I think this will work fine. Yeah, we'll just change it to blue, change it to purple, which I don't think we can make right now, but that's fine. But if we put quality modules into this, maybe we can. Point being, now we can go ahead and slap these guys down. Even if they're not in the network of logistics just yet, we can fix that pretty quickly, I'd say. So go ahead and expand our robotic influence. I could have just held down control for that, but whatever. And then again right here, looks like. And that'll cover a lot of the ground. So we do have to take these out, put them in here, but now we have 3 chests in the system to provide exactly what we need, and we can do the same exact thing with the iron, the issue being that the iron is all the way up here. So in that case, we can remotely set it up. Production, electric furnace. Provide it with quality modules if able. Give it some of that. And then with a little bit of electric pole action right there, we can then put down 3 boxes. We could then do this. Iron plate is... Oh, slow down a little bit there. There we go. We could turn that blue. We can turn that purple. The sushi can be managed. It is possible to get stalled out where, like, it's waiting for... Well, that will only be for steel. If I was making steel off of this, then it could be more of an issue. But as it is right now, it should be okay. If it was waiting... If we're trying to make steel and it has 4 blue and we're trying to get the 5th one, then it can be more of a problem. But, yeah, this is a 1-to-1. It should be no issue at all. Of course, we do need to wait a little bit for it to get the components, but soon enough, that'll be taken care of. And then, yeah, the qualities modules. Worst case scenario, you can always just put them in a box like this and it'll get sent out somewhere at some point when it's needed. Alrighty. The bots are doing what they need to do. The whole point of this, though, was to then take the improved materials and make some improved turrets, right? So what we would want to do is do another one of those requester chests for iron and copper. We can do 2 of them. We just want green. I mean, how much blue iron do we have, I guess is the question. Right here. We have a good amount of blue iron, so I'm going to request blue iron in this. Iron plates, that is. And don't need more than that. And then, yeah, we hopefully have the same amount of blue copper to work with, which we'll be requesting over here. But let's start one thing at a time with this, with a little bit of that. And it needs to go to 2 places. It needs to go, let's say here, here, and that will make your iron gear wheels. And then this will actually make the last piece here. I think this, I always do with the splitter a little bit off because I think it's actually placing after the split, which is instead of before the split, which is a problem. So what we do instead, I think, is do this, 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 this. Just one extra space. Avoids any issues. And what you get instead is higher blue quality gun turrets, which will be taking be 1 spot higher, and then should be on the right side. So on the left side here, we could be then getting another requester chest with the request of copper plates, 100 exactly. Oh, I said 200. Man, same difference really, but we'll go ahead and take care of that. It's supposed to be blue copper plates. I don't know if I made that specific enough, but now it is. So then we just do this one here, and we should be good to go. Now, you could put quality modules into... Oh, this is the wrong recipe, actually. It's supposed to be iron gear wheel blue. It's a little weird, but there you go. So we get iron gear wheel blue, copper blue, iron blue, which is still not being made, or what? Is this guy never going to get his electric furnaces? Are we out of furnaces? What's the issue? So we had a furnace maker, and we were utilizing it for purples. Are we like bottlenecked on that now because we are pulling it in 2 different directions? Let's go ahead and see. Should be a tag for seeing what we're actually building here. There it is. Lost without that in my sprawling factory. But I believe I made it on the right side-ish over here, rather than back over by the... Yeah, because it required advanced circuits, so we definitely wanted to build it over here. There it is. All right, so this machine is empty because we're not getting enough advanced circuits. We're not getting enough advanced circuits because those are impossible to get here. We have greens here. Seems like there might be a mishap. I'm gonna pause and take a look at it for a second here. No, the issue is not of routing. This conveyor belt here is supposed to provide the red circuits. The problem is they're just not being made because we don't have any plastic. We don't have any plastic here. because of this. I don't know when that got destroyed, but even then, we don't have a backup here, so what's the issue? Plastic is getting... Is it like one of the... Did I make a mistake with the coal again? Because I know I did the quality coal earlier, and it's supposed to, like, have no problems. But as you can see, problems, you know? So yeah, let's take a look at what we can do with this. So I know that we're getting near time, but I do see a potential solution that might take a little bit longer to implement, and I do want to try to go for it. First things first, I'm just going to go ahead and clear things out here to try to get it moving. But at the end of the day, our big issue is that some of this stuff is leaking through. Yeah, we're fine. Some of this stuff is leaking through the setup here and making it so that we cannot, we sometimes get our line clogged. And, you know, this guy, again, is trying to cover all his bases, but if he's holding a green and a blue passes by or some other thing happens, it's not foolproof. So what we're going to actually be doing is trying to take what we learned from circuits when we did the alarm and make a little setup here that will, in fact, make it so it's impossible for the plastic to progress into the splitter and has to wait for itself to be picked up. It's an interesting system. Requires a few decider combinators to get it exactly right because there's multiple types. If there's only one type, if we just needed the green, we could do it just with a very simple circuit. But because we need to set up decider have multiple accounts taken care of, we need to do that decider combinator thing we were talking about. Basically creating an OR structure. For Boolean or whatever. Yay. Okay. So basically what we're going to be reading the contents of this fast transport belt. If on this fast transport belt there is a green or a blue, we want that same transport belt to turn off. But it doesn't know to do that necessarily. We have to tell it to do that. So what we're going to be doing is getting data from this belt here. And we're saying, okay, what is the contents? And we're giving it to this one too. So this one's going to be checking for the green plastic, which would be here. If green plastic is greater than 1, because unfortunately you can't just make it so that it just you can say, you know, greater than 1 quality or something like that. You have to be pretty specific here. But if it is greater than 1, then we're going to send out an output value of x equals 1. And then we're going to do the same thing here, but we're going to change it to a blue. So this one's, if there's an uncommon plastic bar on that belt, we get x equals 1. If there's a blue on that belt, we get x equals 1. And they're both going to be transmitting out to this guy here. And so this guy is going to just look at the x values that they're sending and saying, if either of those is true, if x is greater than 0, then we're going to send this deny signal at 1. And we're going to send it back to the very belt that we got the information from. And now we have a conditional. Enable disable if deny signal is less than 1. And rebelt contents and hold. I don't know what this all belts thing is. Let's see. Signal is sent continuously as long as the items on this belt or directly connected belts in front and in the back. So it basically reads its adjacents. Are cut on side loading and inside of splitters. Belts are cut on side loading and inside of splitters. I don't know that sentence, but it doesn't matter. We have a good setup. We're happy with what we have. We're sending this signal. And the idea would be if we can just see this green come through. If we don't have the inserter set up, you're just going to see it freeze. It says, nope, we're not sending it to this spot. That'd be bad. We're just not sending it anywhere. And then that gives the splitter all the time in the world to take care of business and put it in the box. Complicated setup, but quality is a complicated mechanic, and we're just trying to make the best solution that we can. So pretty happy with that. I think that that will avoid such issues in the future. And then, of course, we can always pass the buck along to this to continue to accumulate that plastic, which could in the future be used for high-quality advanced circuits. All that being said, the plastic is now flowing properly, which means the advanced circuits should be producing properly, which means that the advanced circuits should be going to our electrical engine manufacturer, or electrical furnace manufacturer, which means that it will be producing enough for not only the purple science, but also for us to send one up here. Yes, that is an extremely ADHD roundabout way to put a single electric furnace right here, but that's exactly what we just did. Do I need to ask the purple to chill? That would be crazy, right? Because they are waiting on... What are they waiting on? They're waiting on modules. They got furnaces. The furnace count is still low-ish. Maybe we could just... Yeah, turn this off for a second. And see a bot head up to the top here with our cargo. No. Oh, these are logistic bots. We need a construction bot to do it. There. That's what I'm talking about. And just to see if I hit Control Z, it's not going to be doing what I want. We actually do have to change it here. Boom, boom, boom. And that shouldn't change this guy's game plan. He's already got his mission and he's off. Cool. So we're building that one thing, which then will put things into the logistics system here, assuming that we have our logistics system network in range, which we do. Great. Which then will be carried across the way to this setup here. And when it is, we will have our better iron gear wheels, we'll have these, and with quality 2 modules, we will then have even potential for purple gun turrets, in theory. Not that we can reliably produce those, but there it is. All that being said, we wanted some better gun turrets. We've got some better gun turrets. They're going to have some extremely high range, actually. It's going to be up to 21 range instead of the baseline 18. Does seem like a lot of work for that, but, you know, in the long run, it creates a lot of value. Alrighty. With all that being said, we do, of course, need ammunition for those. Our best possible ammunition is going to be piercing round mags, which, of course, is not as good as uranium magazines, but we just don't have any uranium on the map at all. So we'll just work with what we have. We have plenty of magazines already. I guess we could also be trying to quality upgrade these, increasing the damage from like 8 to 12. It could make a difference. So at this point, we are going to be needing to wrap up the episode. We don't want to be going some crazy long time, but it has been a nice little bit of improvements that are going to be necessary to get us to Vulcanus. And as I said earlier, I had a couple clips for what happens if you don't do this right. And so one of them is going to stutter a little bit because the graphics settings was wrong in the recording, but I'll go ahead and show you the first one, which is what will happen if you do not have enough fuel on your space platform as you try to make your way to Vulcanus. Let's check that out. We'll say, let's go to Vulcanus. On the way. Could this take 1,000,000 years? No, okay, it doesn't. Whoa, we're burning. We're burning fuel. But it seems like we have enough. Okay. No, we certainly do not. We'll see what happens. Just a little to the left. I need ice. I'm stranded. We'll collect the ice soon. Speed -10 kilometers. Okay. We're actually falling back to Novus. This is the failsafe, as if we failed our mission. So we have to abort. We have to scrub it because we are scrubs. But that is our foray into the outer space territory. It was really cool for about 30 seconds. And it will be cool again once we get the logistics sorted out. And the other clip is going to be a clear example of why we care so much about these little gun turrets. We've got the materials. And we've got a chance. We've got a dream. We've got power. Let's try this one more time. Alright, we are burning it. That beautiful fuel is going in, but it's coming out of the fuel tanks right now, which is exactly what you want to see. The question is it enough? 25 degrees Celsius. Doesn't sound like much, but you never know. These things are running at low on power, so they're actually missing some of the ice or not utilizing it as clean as you want. It's also not... Oh, we're getting hit by asteroids. The asteroids get stronger as... Oh my gosh, look at this! Alright, I think we'll stick with the failed mission because that is... Wow. So that's what we're looking at, and that's what we're going to be trying to avoid as we get into our next one, which should be taking us to Vulcanus. Go ahead and make a few adjustments here to wrap things up, and then we can be well on our way to the great unknown. Alrighty, so much more efficient consumption of the ice. I don't think I can... Ooh, okay, you actually can. Go ahead and high productivity module these. Every bit of productivity helps a lot. So glad to see that we have the option to crush these. Can't do anything for the actual asteroid chunks themselves. And then we do have one asteroid collector up there, but we probably want to send a little bit more. Let's go ahead and see what we need. LDS and processing unit. We can get some of that right here. No problem at all. Clear out this for the time being. It doesn't seem like we have really anything we need to do with that. And then, yeah, LDSs are right on the line as well. So, we're not going to be making our own density structures. Thank you very much. We're going to be making our own asteroid collectors. And of course, we'll want to be sending the space platforms up along with these. So I'll go ahead and take care of that. What is it, like this, and then that, and then send it up. I can go ahead and trash a little bit of the excess stuff we didn't really need. And continue on. The idea here, we just want to maximize the range of the space platform in terms of being able to collect the ice. I think at a certain point, I've got to just call it quits on the space science, right? Like, we're not... I don't think that's what we're lacking here. Let me go ahead and check, but... We, of course, will be making a lot more space science in the future, but right now, our priority is actually just to spend the ice to melt the ice. And yeah, we're good on space science. Like, we are good. So rather than just fill up the entire hub with this stuff, I'd actually rather just take it offline for a little bit and spend that ice elsewhere. And then I guess the other question is it worth it just to ship water up? Because we can barrel water from Novice, then unbarrel it up there, inserting it into a fluid system here, and then just have these things run off of that. And at the moment, I think that's better than sitting around here waiting for ice. So that is actually going to be my second thing after I set up the asteroid collectors. So we'll go ahead, ship these ones off. Plenty of that space platform juice to keep it going. And then, yeah, we've got all the things that we would need for that barreling process. I guess I'll just double check. So let's see here. Barrel, fill barrel, rest water barrel. And then empty water barrel. It's just an assembling machine that'll have a pipe attached to it. We've got that with fluid handling. We're good to go. So yeah, there's no real reason we can't do that. And I would rather kind of just have that pumping in the background as we get things set up. The question is, where's the water? And I think I have some blue lines telling me that it should be by the concrete stuff, right? There it is, yeah. So if we could just set up a little barreling plant, so to speak, that could set us up with something worthwhile here. So fill water barrel. And I'll make the barrels here, but it's going to take resources, obviously, steel plates. And that can come from up there, from over here, from over here. There's like 1,000 different ways we can make that happen. Let's do it over here. All right, barrels into here. And then the solution. There's no water in this pipe. Come on, construction bots. I'm faster than you. Yeah, we could still do efficiency module. I never see anybody really take advantage of this, but maybe there's a power system issue, like electricity issue on one of the planets, and I could imagine the swamp planet having trouble with that, where like the canopy is too thick and you can't get really any sunlight. So, you know, we'll see. But yeah, if it doesn't have any coal there and or any burnable, it's got to have burnables. But I guess if it's swampy, then who knows? Anyways, all that being said, let's go ahead and research efficiency module 2, and that'll be our last space science research for a little while, it looks like. Yeah, and then these barrels, how much do they weigh? Rock capacity 100, 10 stacks. So we could definitely make it happen where they just kind of be filled on. If we wanted to even go as far as this, we totally could. But we need more barrels. It means we need more steel, which means we need to find out where the steel went. It's supposed to come along this line. We're drying up. All steel is failing, and that's because we're out of iron because of something that must have happened with the trains. Our iron patch is dying. Well, we have this one down here. Like, trains? Where are trains at? Are they crashing into each other or something? Like, that's not a blue train. Where's my blue trains? I actually feel like something happened with the rail system where they're not... Oh, they're not... meeting conditions. All right. So I've got a condition of... I had this fuel condition, right? This temporary coal refuel. It says if you have 145 coal, then you're good to leave the station, which is great because, you know, that means they're basically full. And then I said, oh, wait, you can get blocked up if you have a green in your inventory. Because if you have a green in your inventory, then suddenly you're only have 2 slots available. Now you should be leaving if you have 95 coal in your station. Well, now we have to add another weight condition, which should be something along the lines of fuel any locomotive or... And then we have another one with an and here. So we have fuel is greater than 95, like before. and blue fuel in particular is greater than 0. And suddenly it works. Alrighty, so we were lacking iron because all of our refuel trains decided, well, we have something to worry about here. Of course, we still could technically run into the situation where we have a blue and a green, and then we'll have to resolve that as well. That just is one of the things when you just sushi belt coal. It doesn't seem like it because it's, you know, it's all coal, but it doesn't get recognized as the same thing. So it is what it is. They're up and running now. They will be dropping off the iron, building up the steel values, allowing us to barrel some water, and allowing us to ship that water into space so that we can receive it and do stuff with it. Still kind of awkward. We have to get it out of the hub, right? So we might have to break down some space solar panels in order to do that. Not the end of the world. We have the power, right? Seems like, yeah, we aren't even requiring a fraction of what we need at the moment. But yeah, this solution won't work once we reinstate our space science as it was with the underground belt. But if we did this with a filter, and we said only barrels of water. So weird. I've never used barrels before, but you know, desperate times, desperate measures. Okay, we also just want to use underground belts wherever we can because it's more efficient to ship that up. Then we still need to unbarrel it, which makes me say, what if we could do this, do this, do this. Actually, just copy this entirely because we want the modules. And that's one way to do it. We also have the assembling machine setup, which we're going to be doing here. And that is going to be, oh, wrong kind. There, and empty water barrel, pointing it out here. Great. With the hope being that we can just kind of make it all work, you know? Alright, I of course still need to get the thrusters set up on the space platform, but we are at time for the episode, so that is going to be what we work on next time. In the meantime, yeah, hopefully we can start getting some barrels of material filled up and send water where it needs to go. We can, of course, also just do it by hand a little bit. And see what we can contribute that way. Alrighty. Our tech is done. We are taking the steps necessary to make all this work. And I do believe we are heading to Vulcanus at the next opportunity. So we'll check it out very soon. I appreciate you all for tuning in. And for those that are either new to the series or have been here since we started it, yeah, really appreciate you guys checking it out. I'm going to try to keep uploads going at least once a week, regardless of what else is going on. Plenty of stuff can catch up with you, Life or Path of Exile or whatever have you. But, you know, we're having fun here. We're getting into new content. I'm really excited about it. Hope you are too. And we will check more out on the next episode. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one.